Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Let's do this, guys. How you doing, my friend?
We're on the other side of Christmas now.
Huh?
It's almost like, all right, we can breathe now. We're on the other side of Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And
Christmas
speaking of on the other side of Christmas, happy birthday, brother.
Thanks, man.
We're on the other side of that, too.
Yes, sir.
We're going to get into that as well.
Yeah.
You know, because it's, I've known a couple of people to have like Christmas birthdays, Christmas Eve birthdays, but
Right.
it's, yeah, I think you kind of talked about it a little bit
Thanks,
last
Mike.
year, but it's got to, in some ways, suck.
Yeah.
I'm going
So-
to just be honest.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's usually you go to the family get together and your mom brings a birthday cake and they're all like, "What's the cake for? Why'd you bring birthday cake?"
Because everybody forgets.
Yeah, and then you're like, "Oh, it's Jeffrey's birthday." "Oh yeah, that's right. Hey, go get a couple extra bucks for his birthday." Like that kind of thing, or hey, happy birthday and Chris. You get something that says both. It's okay. I mean, for me, like, yeah, I probably
Happy
only had,
birthmas.
yeah, I probably only had like 2 birthday parties ever, like growing up.
You were telling
and-
us about one.
Yeah, and it was just like, and one was cool. It was just like we had, just my buddies. It was like middle school time buddies, spend the night. And we ended up doing like a scavenger hunt, which is kind of cool, right? And just all around town and going to people's houses without them knowing and asking for things to create like a Santa suit or something crazy like that. It was actually pretty fun. But
That's pretty dope.
that was about, it as far as that. And that wasn't really still like a birthday party, So, well, most of the
It's a cool
time.
party, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. And then I guess it's been probably 10 years, my brother did like a surprise party for me with a bunch of my friends and stuff. And that was kind of cool, really cool. But yeah, I mean, it's different. For me, I always was appreciative that most of my family that I didn't always get to see was there to celebrate with me. That was always cool, But yeah, now I'm just so used to it, Of course, you have your younger brother that always thinks you get more presents than everybody else. So, he's always
You're like, hey, put this thing
yeah. I'm
in
like, hey, I
perspective,
waited a whole year for this. Just happens all at once.
buddy. You're going to get one in like 3-4 months. Calm down.
Right. So I mean that's always it's interesting, but yeah,
Good way to put it.
now it's just always something. My mom always makes sure to do something. She still is like that. She's like, if I don't get to see you, then or whatever, and she just always, I don't know, she's overly emotional about it. A Christmas baby. I'm like, yeah, I'm 37 years old, Mom.
Oh, see, that's interesting. My mom is the exact opposite.
Really?
No, there's certain words that like people say in your family, like, I'm sorry. Nobody says that in my family. No, just things like that, like being emotional and like that stuff doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in my family. All right. It's just whatever. They're just
Right.
and I love my mom. I really do, but big time. My mom listens to the pod every now and then. All right. But yeah, come on, Mom. Be honest. You're not. That's not you. Pump the brakes if you actually thought that. So we said we're on the other side of Christmas. Hey, first we got to let everybody know. We got to let listeners know now. This is the last live Facebook Live podcast that we're going to do. We're going to go back to being on our podcast platforms that you guys have to download, which we've always been there. We've always been on Apple Podcast. We've always been on Spotify. We've always been on Spreaker or Podbean or even iHeartRadio, in which, this is oddly enough, I listen to it all the time as well.
Yeah.
Like all the others, because I always feel like I need to, just
Well, it's good
to
catch up and yeah. So what we're gonna do, we're going to do our show, and it's gonna be an hour, and then we're gonna come back on at 10 and do kind of a Q&A, a live Q&A on Facebook. I think that's what you and I have decided on what would be good to keep the audience engaged, let everyone know the topics, and maybe do a Q&A on it, and then just kind of go from there, right? So, can you hear me, Alex?
So I want to get into
You want to get into
a
what?
little bit. I was Jeff. I was thinking about this because I think about this every now and then. You know, I was like, "Wow, this is a great Christmas."
Yeah.
And I was sitting back. I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, "You know what? I think this is the best Christmas we've ever had." And my wife looked at me kind of strange. She goes, "Well, why?" And I'm like, "I just think this was the best one I think this is the best Christmas ever." So I was just thinking about like, what is your favorite things about Christmas? Like the things about it, and what are the worst things? Like the worst things about it. But you can't talk about birthday though.
All right. Yeah. No. I won't talk about that.
What is it? What are like? So talk about like what are some of your favorite things?
Favorite things to do like on Christmas? I always like Christmas Eve service. You know, that's something that's always been a big deal for me. That's always fun. The past few years, it's changed because we've done the contemporary service. I think I talked about this last year. The contemporary service is earlier. It's at 7 p.m. But I used to do like the midnight service, like the 11 p.m. service. So that was always something that we did for a long time. That was one. The other thing I think was like, you're probably getting the same feedback that I am. So the other thing that I always liked was, doing different things for other people. So like we would always that month before either do like a Christmas like shoebox for someone, or what they call like an angel or a blessing or something like that. So I always thought that was cool to go out and find and get something for someone else. So those are some of the things that I really enjoy about Christmas. What about you? You probably can't hear me. We're both having problems with our iPads, I think.
You know what I was thinking about? Christmas is really just it's an event, right? It's a big event, but it's not like an event. It is what it is, right? It's a season. It's a whole big thing that's built up, right? I actually feel like the week before Christmas is actually better than like Christmas, because it's like, oh, the euphoria, it's gonna be here. Oh my gosh, here it comes. That's when you usually have the Christmas parties, because who wants to really have a fun Christmas party like the day before Christmas or 2 days before? It's so stressful. I gotta do all this stuff.
Yeah, don't
and
do
then
that.
now I gotta go get. I got time. Well, let's do that the week before. Right. So the week before, that's when all the fun stuff happens. That's when everybody's ready for all the Christmas song. Everybody wants to hear it. It don't matter. Right. The week before Christmas, like people look at you like you're strange. Like, no Christmas songs, guy. What's wrong with you? Right.
Right.
I mean, it's like people want Christmas everything. You know.
Right.
The week before, oh man, it's the bomb. So, like even in my house, we'll be eating lunch, dinner, whatever, and my daughter would be like, "Play some Christmas music, Daddy." I'm like,
"Yeah, let's go."
What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I love that, but I think, dude, Christmas parties are by far those things are that's got to be my favorite.
See, I have never gone. I mean, I've gone to usually one or two, but it just depends. I haven't been in the past few years. Well, this year obviously there wasn't really many, and then the ones that were, they were kind of different. So
you should have went to our Christmas party last year, man. That's like what.
Oh, I know. I saw that.
That was it was fantastic.
So yeah, I mean, I like the Christmas parties. I'm trying to think. I just think this whole 2 weeks for me as a kid, it was like, hey, I get 2 weeks off, and it's leading into Christmas and then getting pumped up for New Year's parties, you know. So that was always fun. So interesting to see what people are doing for New Year's, because I
never did that. We never really did. I mean, I'm telling you, like maybe 2-3 years, like when in my 20s, I might have done something. But the reason why is because it's so there's always a blizzard. There's always a snowstorm. There's always something horrible.
Right.
So it's amateur hour. Like, you can go out there, oh, you crazies.
Right.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So the other thing that I would always be doing usually for Christmas for 14, 15 years was either getting on a plane or getting on a plane the next day or packing to go to Super Grands. To go to Super Grands. So it was always that.
I wanted to talk about that one,
that trip, to Super Grands, depending on where it was. And it's funny right now how I love Facebook for giving me all these, moments and back.
Or like the memories.
The memories, man. And so
4 years ago,
I'm getting tons of Facebook stuff, especially from the years where I was running like their the NBL Facebook page and Instagram and stuff. So I just got tons and tons of stuff that I would just put out and share, put out and share. And so it's just funny seeing all the different things. But yeah, I mean, one for me was a funny one. So I travel most of the time by myself from when I was 18 and then till, I don't know. So I started having the tournament, and my parents started helping out the Super Grands in about 2011 again, right? And so, I don't know. So it's like 2002 to 2011 without really traveling and going to any tournaments with my parents. And then they decided to go to Super Grands with me, right? So, and help and run the tournament. And as I was a promoter. And I will never forget this, traveling with my dad. So my dad travels, like that was part of his job, right? He was on the road for all these years growing up. So
he's like the guy to go with. He knows everything.
Yeah, but he has a particular way that he travels, right?
Oh, he's one of them.
And I have a particular way that I travel. And we both, like, he has more experience than me, but I'm more like just relaxed and, whatever. He's like, no, we got to be there 2.5 hours before. We got to do this. What are you doing? Don't go that way over there. Stay close to me, Jeffrey. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stay over here. And I'm like, what the heck, man? Like, can we just have some fun and relax and, like it'll be okay, And I remember looking at this, and I remember I posted on Facebook. I was like, traveling with my parents again is not fun. It's not, I don't remember it being like this as a kid. It was crazy. And I mean, we got in some arguments. We got into some fights. I got frustrated. He got frustrated. I'll never forget that. And then the rest of the week, it was great. But traveling, when you are used to your, thing, and even it's the same thing. Because I noticed this again when last 2 or 3 years ago when I took my family, my girlfriend and her kids on our trip together. Their first flight, really, none of them really flew. And I have my way of doing everything. And they're all like, what about this? I'm like, no, what are y'all doing? Come on. I'm like,
come on, we got time for Cinnabon. Get over here.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, I've turned into my dad.
Oh,
so,
full circle.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that's just funny stuff.
It's interesting. It goes along the lines of what you just mentioned with that. So I listened to this basketball podcast, Shocker, right?
Yeah, right.
And I don't know if you know who the NBA player Rajah Bell is, but Rajah Bell is a great player. He played for the Jazz, the Phoenix Suns. He played for a few teams, and he played a few times on Christmas. And there's a few players like LeBron James has played on Christmas every year he's been in every year he's been in the league, except for his rookie year, I think. But anyway, point is, so think about it. His kids are now, he's got a couple of teenagers, right? So all they know is that.
Right.
This is 17th or 18th year in the league, right? 18th year in the league. So, and that's what he's done. So his whole family, all his wife and kids, you think about this, sometimes they're hosting, but every time they have to be in a hotel. Right. So as he's kind of talking about this, he's like, oh yeah, it's really weird. Like you have to do everything. Like if you have a noon game, it's like there's no playing around. Like you're at shoot around at 10. And I'm like, man,
wow.
How do you do all that? And he's like, oh yeah, what we had to do is we had to get 3 hotel rooms. We had to get one for my parents and then one for us. And then we had to have another one kind of set up. Like that's where we were going to do Christmas. We are going to have everything there. And I'm like, the stress of that. And then after that, oh, by the way, go play one of the more important games you're ever going to play the year. Right. Don't mess up.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of extra stress. Don't screw it up. But then, you got a family member that's just like, hey, come over here. Let's take an extra picture. And you're like, I literally cannot. I don't have time for this.
Right.
And we've dealt with that as competitors. When you got family there.
Yeah. When you bring family. Yeah. It's crazy.
Jeff, when you got family at a tournament, do you perform better or worse?
I've gotten used to it, but at first it was like, it's a little stressful. You're like, it depends on the person. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good point.
If they are very needy and want you to be around the whole time, or, like, it's hard. I'm really bad about introducing people. I really am. I'm really bad about that because I just start talking to the person and I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, I'm real bad about that. I'm real bad about that. But it's hard to introduce everybody.
You can't, because they don't want to hear everything.
Especially when you're at a karate tournament and you talk to everybody. Travis and Carlos are talking about this, is how you just talk and talk and talk.
Oh, for sure.
And especially people like you and I, like we know everybody and we're there to enjoy and do this and that. And it's difficult. It's different.
So my stepdad gets it. He gets it, and he's just like, so we had this thing where he's like, because he's in Minnesota, so when I go to the Diamonds, he's just like, all right, homie, I'm gonna stop by, I'll check it out, but when you're there, I ain't gonna deal with all that,
right?
Because here's this thing, he goes, if we're going to get something to eat and we're on one side of the room, we can't just go to the other side of the room.
No.
You cannot just do that. Like, to go from one side of the room to the other side of the room that I'm looking at and I can see with my own 2 eyes, that could take you 40 minutes.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that would be a good day too. But and that's not bumping into a promoter.
Correct.
That's not bumping into someone who's talking about a different team. That's not bumping into someone who's, what I mean? That's just normal.
And so for me, it got really hard to leave tournaments on a time, especially when I was the one either running the tournament or I'm a promoter or someone wants to, hey, can we have a promoters meeting right now? No, we can't. I got to go. Hey, can you and I meet and do this? Everyone will want to do that and meet separately with me. And it just kind of got hard to even bring family.
The reality is.
And even when they were competing too and a part of it and stuff too, it's just like, it's tough.
And here's the reality for everybody. And anybody listening, when you're at a tournament, everybody has to go. No matter what's happening, everybody has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Right.
So this doesn't matter, right?
Right.
So for that other, coordinator who's like, oh, here, you can judge. Just because I've sat down now doesn't mean that I can sit down and judge for another hour and a half. Just because you see me sitting here taking a breath doesn't mean that you now own me for the next couple hours. Sorry.
Correct.
It's not going to happen.
No.
Right? I may actually want you to I volunteer to do that stuff because I'm just like, hey, I'm not competing for hours or I'm not competing on this day.
Right.
What better way to watch the divisions to know that I'm going to be able to have a good seat than to judge it? Let's go do that. So I've done that. Right.
But, and I used to do that at Super Grands growing up, and I get paid or I get my room taken care of for some of those days. So it worked out, so the days I competed, I would compete. The days that I didn't, I would judge. And I did that for a while until I kind of got to a point where I needed to either coordinate or I had to run the finals. That was because once I became a higher level promoter, then I had to do other jobs because I shouldn't really be judging if I'm a national promoter. So, and that's something that I still think should happen and,
I agree with you on that one.
Should be a thing. So, and then there's good and bad with that. Cause then again, I'm coaching all throughout the day. And then when everyone else goes get the rest, I got to go set up finals. So Super Grands were rough, but a lot of fun because I got to see when I was a kid and a competitor, it was just like you're around people that get what you get. You know what I mean? Like they are into what you are into, and it's like a special time. Like you get to. When else do you get to see? Like, you know, yes, you get to see your family before you leave and do Christmas, but then you're like kind of in that holiday spirit with people that understand you, probably more than some people in your family do. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I always enjoyed that. And then you got to celebrate like New Year's and bringing the New Year together, and that was one of the best things because it was a real like fun party because it's just
Yeah. Oh, I get you. You know what's
karate
interesting, Jeff?
people together is fun. So,
Oh man, it is.
yeah.
I just realized this for the first time. Super Grands is the best excuse to get out of sitting around all day. So I'm gonna tell you this.
Right,
My wife's favorite thing to do.
Uh-huh.
This is like we have different traditions, right? Like my family, we're gonna play a game called Left, Right, Center. You ever play a game called Left, Right, Center?
No.
All right. This is a fun game, right? But someone's gonna get rich. It might be you. All right.
All right.
What you do is it's a game. You can pick it up at Target. You can pick it up anywhere. All right. And it's got a couple dice, and one's got an L. You know, another side's got a C. Another one's got an R for left, right, center.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other ones, they'll either have a star or a dot. Right. So what you want to do is you start out the game the way we play with money. That's what I'm talking about, Julio. Julio knows what I'm talking about. We play with money. So you play with, all right, everybody has to have 3 $1 bills. You got 3 singles to play the game. Okay? So if you roll left, right, center, now you have to throw $1 to the left. You have to throw $1 to the right. You have to throw $1 to the center. Now you're like, I'm out. But you're never fully out until everyone's out. So everybody can sit there because like you might have nothing left, but the guy next to you
does, so you can always
rolled,
right?
Everything going in your direction. Now you had nothing. Now you're sitting there with everything. So in the end of the game, if you're playing with a bunch of people, someone's gonna leave with like, I don't know, $80. What for per game? And you're like, dang, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But then everybody's like, run it back, right? And so, but the way it works out great is if like, almost everybody wins one game, It sucks if like one person wins it like 3 times, then someone wants to jump that guy,
Yeah, right.
Whatever. But it's pretty cool. So we play that. What my wife wants to do for her family, and I learned, it was a shock the first Christmas. I'm like, when does this end? Kind of thing. So we do, it's a big family. My wife's one of 7, right?
Wow.
So put spouses on top of that, then put kids. Lots of them got kids, So it was a lot of people. Okay. Still the same house she grew up in with 2 bathrooms with 9 people when she grew up in. It's not 9 people anymore. We kept everything small and tight this year, and we still had over 20 people. Right.
Right.
It's just the way it's going to be,
Yeah.
And then you take the kids on top of that. So it's whatever, man. So what they'll do is on Christmas, after we do our, first thing in the morning, opening, look at this is fantastic. We don't even eat, right? Since my mom gave us all matching pajamas, right? I'm not kidding you. It's amazing, right?
Man.
My mom gave us all matching pajamas.
So everyone in the house had the same thing on?
For me and my mom gave my family that. That was one of the gifts that she gave us.
Okay,
right?
Got it. All right.
But Lindsay's family will do that. And they did. They did do that. They did give everybody matching pajamas. So, but anyway, so we go there, and we'll eat breakfast, and we'll probably get there at like 9:30 in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. And we will be there all day.
Yeah,
all day.
Yep.
And so then the question is, what do? You just sit. You just sit and hang. So the first Christmas, I'm there. I'm like, now what? After a few hours in, you're like, what are we going to do today? Right? And she's like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, yeah, are we going to, change up the pace? Can we turn on the NBA? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we don't want to watch that. So I'm like, we're not watching the NBA. We're not moving. What are we doing? You
Right.
know, you just got to
Wow.
get used to it. So it was just that was an adjustment. You know, I had to
Yeah.
get used to that.
Yeah.
But it's cool, right? I like it now. Now you got to adjust. You got to figure out. Oh, they love food, and so you're gonna get into the different foods that they have.
Right.
My wife made the best guacamole, so that part was cool. So we did that. That was a cool part. But I gotta tell you, man, this Christmas, probably my favorite part was my daughter. My son,
Mhm.
he don't really know it's Christmas yet. You know, so
Right,
he doesn't
right.
really get it.
Right.
He's almost 2, but it's
Okay.
like
So
he still
yeah.
doesn't get it. He's like, all right, if you tell me it's Christmas, it's whatever. I don't really
Yeah.
care, whatever that is. You know,
Right.
it's kind of where he's at. It's like he's just car truck, right?
Yeah.
That's what everything's. It's not a car or a truck.
Or a
Everything's
truck.
car truck.
Car
This is
truck.
whatever.
Okay.
All right, here you go. You have dinosaurs and car truck. Here you go. My wife or my daughter, when she would open up a gift, you know what? I'm gonna show you this because I got one right here. Hang on.
All right. Here we
This
go.
is literally
See
this
what we
is one
got,
of, this
people.
is
Let's see what we got.
this is one of her gifts that when she opened, she was so excited she was shaking. Look at this thing. All right, this isn't even the coolest one. It's a butterfly, like elephant, like sparkly heart unicorn.
Yeah.
There's a unicorn on it, right, with butterfly wings, and the heart does like changes.
What do you even call that thing?
I don't know what you call it,
Okay.
right? Oh, what is that? A skateboard? I don't know what that is. You know.
Yeah.
But when she opened it, she's just like so excited. She just
Like
was
shaking?
shaking and then hugs it like this is the greatest thing ever. I don't know how she's asleep right now and without this thing.
Right.
So just stuff like that. Right. She just that was the coolest part. That was by far the coolest. Oh yeah. Thanks, Obeda. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
No. Actually, her favorite one, I'm gonna tell you this. It was a rainbow butterfly unicorn kitten. That was a real thing. That's a real thing. My wife found it. She got it. That's a real thing. So yeah,
so she
very,
just-
very different.
So she just has a bunch of mixed up animals. They're not even. Yeah. Okay.
Dude, what we had to do, here's what we had to do. All right.
Mhm.
So she had so many stuffed animals as a kid. She doesn't know that this is what we did with them. Right. There was literally like a mountain of them. Like we just shoved them into a corner. Like, what are we going to do with all this stuff? So last Christmas, what I did is I bought her a beanbag, but it was an empty one. So what I did is I stuffed all of those in there. So she has this beanbag that she thinks is a beanbag.
No.
But what it's all those stuffed animals.
That's awesome.
It's great.
That's pretty. That's smart.
That was
That's good.
legit. That was a dad win right there. I'll tell you
Wow,
what.
that was.
So
Wow.
she's just got tons of those. She's got tons of these things, man. Yeah,
Wow.
but that's what we did with them.
That's fun stuff, man. So yeah, I mean, the last 2 years were the first 2 years in a long time that I was home, like the whole time for Christmas.
That's right, because there was no Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's right.
So there wasn't. I didn't go last year. Was the first time in a long time, and there wasn't anything this year. And so yeah, it's crazy. I went for a long time in a row, and some years it was in Thanksgiving. So that was probably the
I
only
thought
time.
that was the case.
Yeah, that was the only time where I was like at home for it. So and people were like, "Hey, what are you gonna do for New Year's?" I'm like, dude, I'm always gone for New Year's. So, so don't even ask me. Sorry, it's just the way it is. But
I don't know why. I don't want to go. I mean, I kind of mentioned that. I don't want to do anything for New Year's.
No.
I don't want to do that stuff, man.
Now,
I
do you
wanna go
guys do?
out.
Did you guys ever do things like on New Year's Day, like eat a certain meal and things like that? Like eat
What?
was it greens and black eyed peas and some things like that? I think it was
What?
you have to eat like country ham and there's all kinds
What
of these.
are you
these things.
talking about?
Yeah, in the South, you eat like certain things on New Year's Day to bring in like good luck into your New Year. So we always had like country
Nah.
ham, red eye gravy, grits, and then collard greens and pinto. No, not black eyed peas. Yeah. So that was the
you know
thing
what's
that
funny?
Yeah.
I was just talking to my wife about this type of thing today. I was literally just talking about that. We were talking about like, what are we gonna eat? What do you want to do? And so I was like, let's get a deep dish pizza. I was destined to live here. I kid you not. I was destined to live in the Chicago area. There's no two ways about it, right?
You
I
love
love
that
Minnesota.
pizza. You love pizza.
And it's not just that, man. I love like the culture, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like
That's
I'm
cool.
from Minnesota, but I don't have the accent. And I don't have the culture. I'm not really that. So I kind of stuck out a little bit. It was a few times when people are like, yo, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Brooklyn Park. And they're like, no, but like, where did you grow up? And I'm like, Brooklyn Park. And
Yeah.
so they didn't get it. So, but I was just like, that's the kind of stuff I want to have. So like when we had a big event, like
Yeah.
growing up, when we had a big thing, there was two things that we had as kids. They're both Italian, all right? Pasta funno, my mom would make that, pasta funno, and cotolette, right? It's like an Italian, you can bread it, it's like a breaded type of way to make this meat.
Okay.
You can use a couple of different types of meat. We usually use like Romano beef, but it's or veal. Sometimes you can use veal, but
Right.
yeah, we didn't have. What is black-eyed peas? And what is
Yeah,
this? Didn't
Black-eyed
have
peas,
none of this
man.
stuff.
Yeah,
None of this.
red-eye gravy. Yeah, Abedo knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, man. So, all right. Is there something that your parents always get you, maybe like in your stocking, or give you every year? It's just like a tradition. They're always going to give it to you. I know I have one that my parents always give me.
What is it?
Chocolate covered cherries.
Why?
Because it's just something we always had. Chocolate covered cherries and fruitcake. This may be the first year I didn't have fruitcake. And we always eat oyster stew on Christmas Eve.
So this is a weird one, right? So this is another adjustment that I had to have, right?
Right.
So in my family, like when you're gonna give gifts, like I actually got into that. Like, oh, I'm doing a good job, right?
Yeah.
When you're like a teenager, you're a young adult, like what do you have to get gifts for? Your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister.
Right.
Right? So and if you're living at home even,
Right.
all the money you have is going to that. This is like pre-cell phone. You know?
Correct.
Nobody's even got that. What did I have? A $25 pager bill?
Right.
That's bringing it back if anybody ever had one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Pager. All right.
And $25 was a steep one. That was the steep plan. Normally people were on like 10, 15 bucks. But anyway, right? So yeah, we get a good gift. I remember I bought my dad a watch, like a nice one, because my dad would always have this like Velcro thing. I got him a nice watch. Did he wear it? No, but he cried when he was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the nicest thing, and you're the best." Never wore the dang thing. So, but my wife's family, what they would do is they would ask like, "What do you want for Christmas?"
Mm-hmm.
I always felt weird, like, ugh. Like I'm telling, like, get me this thing, you know? That's what I'm like, oh, I don't. But then you do the thing, you're like, oh, don't worry about it. And they're like, okay, come on, don't insult me. Like I'm giving you a gift, or like when we do like a Secret Santa between them, because like I said, she's one of 7. You're not getting everybody everything. Plus spouses is a bit much. No. So it was great. Exactly. So like, hey, your Secret Santa is asking what you want, and I'm like, now I got to tell him something.
Yeah.
So I would tell him this one cologne, right? This Gucci by Gucci. It was dope, right? Travis probably knows it, and he probably thinks it's trash because Travis is a connoisseur, right? He's that good.
That's right.
But and so this is the 1 year, my secrets, and for like 4 years, I said, yeah, Gucci by Gucci, just get that. Yeah. They're like, well, didn't you ask for that last year? I was like, yeah, it's good.
Every
just
year.
Go to that well.
Just
you get
every
me,
year.
if you get me next year, don't even ask. Right. Yeah. So this year, nobody asked. And I'm like, oh, they must have figured it out. No. But they didn't. But that was the other thing, because they got to the point where they were like, they would send each other links. Like, oh, here's the link to buy this thing.
Right.
And I'm like,
yeah. It's a little weird. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's weird because I never grew up like that, having to do things like that. And then once, like, in-laws and things came in and everything else, and you have this more people you're celebrating with, it gets a little different, So I don't know.
Can I tell you like worst things though? I'll tell you this it's horrible and it's funny at the same time. The worst Christmas ever. Remember I was telling you like, oh, this is probably the best one ever. This, without a doubt, this is slam dunk the worst Christmas ever. Right? This specific one. think it was 2005. Right. So at this point, my dad is living in this tiny little township called Castle Danger, Minnesota, which is like 4.5 hours north of Minneapolis. Right. So there's like, he's on like 8 acres of land. It could be 80, it could be 0.8. What's the difference? It's just you and Lake Superior.
Right.
That's it. Right. You're literally on the highway and then you just turn into his driveway. That's not an exaggeration. Right? So we're up there and it's me, my dad, my brother, my sister, my stepmom. All right. So, and my sister did something where she was like coming by me. She had a couple things to drink and she like bumped me and I was like, whatever then, you're gonna act like that, I said something like jokingly. And then like, I start walking up and there's like this railing on my right side. And she was like getting mad at me. She like hit me in the head and I'm like doing one of these things. And it's like, when you got that little like bug that's bothering you, and you're like, go like this. And she went to swing again to like hit me or something like that. Not like a closed fist, right? Not like malicious, right? So, but clearly like she's pissed, but she's not like closed fist pissed, right? There's a level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she hits, I go like this, right as she's swinging. I hit her arm. She falls back into the Christmas tree.
Whoa.
She falls over. The Christmas tree falls on top of her. And I'm like, I can't believe what's going on.
Wow.
My dad walks in and my dad's like, what happened here? And then in walks my brother. And my brother is like, dang, where are you? Everything. And then my sister's mad. And my stepmom comes in. You ruined Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even know what just happened right now. Everybody was pissed. It was like, shut everything down. Everything goes with it. At the end of it, the next day, right? My dad, we all go back to the cities. It's called the suburbs area. So we go back there and I get out of the car and he looks at me and he goes, well, we tried.
Yeah. We tried.
We tried. That was what it was. Well, we tried. That was the worst one.
You know what's funny is I think 2005 was my worst too. Just overall that whole week, which is kind of weird too. Just some crazy things happened in my family that week. I don't even want to get into. And then it was the worst Super Grands ever. Like on a lot of things. Just I didn't do well. I made some bad decisions. Let's just say that. And yeah, so it was just a bad week. And I remember going back to school, like going back to college early, just because I was like, I got to get away from here. I don't even want to stay home another week or two. Like I think I went home like early, like 2 weeks early or whatever, and went back. So yeah.
The thing that bothers me, because I love the Christmas time. I love the energy. I love the music, man. I get into it. What annoys me is the commercials.
Yeah.
I am okay. And I don't know what, like, am I like, is my grouchiness, was my old man grouchiness coming out? I don't know, But like when I see
I just want them to do the old commercials. That's what I want to see. It's the
but
old
it's like
ones.
Here, I'm gonna describe every Christmas commercial you've ever been annoyed by right now. Here's what it is. Okay? I'll lay out the scene. Here comes the husband. He just comes out and he says, "Hey honey, got a surprise for you outside." She's like, "What?" And it's like the perfectly like manicured fallen snow. She comes out, oh, and it's like a silver Mercedes with a big red bow on it.
Yep.
Like, no. Nobody spent $90 to $100 and some $1,000 on a Christmas gift
on a Christmas gift. Yeah.
In a house that we're looking at, that's probably $180,000 to $280,000. Like, why are we buying a car that's worth more than the house? This is not a thing. Right? Or how about this one? Like, "Hey, honey, here you go. Merry Christmas." And they're the 2 pickup trucks. And she's like, "Oh, I love this." And he's like, "Oh, but the red one, I really love the red one. Thanks, honey." And he's like, "I guess I'll take this black one. It's okay. I just spent $120,000 on vehicles, but I'll take this one as long as you're happy. Heck no. This is annoying. It's not real.
Oh.
Or how about the one where Santa Claus' sled breaks down and he's got to, drive in a Cadillac and he's got to deliver the presents? Get
Right.
the heck out of here,
No.
man. This is move on.
You're right.
Just some guy come out and go,
the car
hey.
commercials just keep going up and up during this time, huh?
Someone should just come out and go, guys, all right, it's Christmas time. We got a lot of cars to sell.
Yeah.
You got to buy something. Let's level. All right, we're going to cut a deal. Just come on in. Talk to me. I'll hook you up. Let's just leave it like that.
They should throw in like some other Christmas presents with the car. You know what I mean? Kind of help you out when you buy one, and then you get some of the other thing. Like a little oven or something. That you could give to your mom or something. I mean, come on, something like that.
But Joe, speaking of commercials,
yeah,
Billy Blanks was just in a commercial.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. Billy Blanks is on the
Geico commercial.
Geico commercial, man.
That was kind of fun.
It was. I'm seeing several different ones of it too. Like there's been more than one. So,
but that was what was funny is that was obviously Billy right now,
right?
But it looked like it was Billy from like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago.
He's in great shape.
I know.
It's crazy. I saw my friend Brian Arrington is good friends with Billy. It was training partners with him growing up, and so he came and visited a while back, and I saw that picture, and it's like neither of these guys age at all, and they're like the best shape you could. Both of those guys, Brian Arrington and Billy. It's crazy, and this dude, yeah.
That's how Brian's got some jacktitude to him. I'll tell you that.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah. So I mean, it's crazy to me how just good shape he's in. Looked like he was having fun. It's like the behind the scenes kind of commercial, right? It's like a lot of outtakes and stuff. I've seen
like everything was a jab. Jab.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, go YouTube. Billy Blank's Geico commercial. It was cool. It's cool. It's really cool. I was hoping he'd kick something.
Yeah, me too. But
that's all right.
Yeah,
we get it.
We do.
When did all the Tybo stuff happen?
Mid 90s, I'm thinking. Maybe late 90s.
Maybe it was early 90s. I don't know. I feel like
I think it was early to mid, like 94 to like 97 or something like that. I feel like.
So we're almost 30 years of Tybo.
Right. And it was still big in like the 2000s, the early 2000s. It was still kind of big. So
that's a big deal. So back into the karate world.
Yes.
Where we dwell from. So this is typically like the time of year where it's always, I feel like people are training the most, but are like hush hush about it.
Yeah.
Like they're training their tail off, but they ain't saying nothing to nobody. Like they almost want people to feel like they're not training.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they show up to the first tournament like, da, 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 right? And it's so cool, right? That like the first tournament of the year, the first big one of the year, everybody's like, all right, here we go. And everybody really legitimately does feel like this is their chance.
This is it. Yep.
This is their season. It's kind of like week 1 of the NFL.
Yeah.
Everybody, if you ever look at like predictions, if you look at the predictions for every team prior to the first week, there's literally no predictions on the team where you're like, I mean, this team, they're probably going to go 3-13. They're going to be that bad. Nobody is, because they're worst ones. They're like, you know what? It's going to be a rough year for them. Probably going to be like a 6-10 team. That's their worst.
Right.
No,
right.
There's a lot of. I think the Jets just got their first win last week.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, Jackson. I know Jackson says he's a Jets fan. So sorry, homie. It's all right.
Yeah.
You're gonna get your shot at Trevor Lawrence, but it's whatever. I don't know if the Jags even have a win. Right?
No, they don't. I don't think so.
They don't. Never mind. You can't get that then.
Yeah, so they're supposed
Jags
to
ain't gonna
get
screw it
Trevor
up now.
Lawrence. Yeah, they're supposed to get Trevor Lawrence. So
now they're gonna get him.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not football pie, whatever. So, but like this is the thing where like now everybody's really into it, and then when you come into the year, so I really liked the past 10 years or so, the AKA Grand Nationals being in
the beginning.
January,
right?
Because Chicago is it's a big city. It's a notable city that people want to go to.
Right.
It is January.
Yeah.
You get to deal with that. That ain't super fun.
No.
But being in the city is fun. Being where it doesn't matter really, where it is, as long as everybody knows, all right, it's going to be good, and that's where people are going to be. I'll go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's the first one of the year. The Compete Nationals, was that for a while, but it's February. By February, sometimes some of that luster has kind of rubbed off a little bit.
Right. Yeah. So like when I was, it kind of went back and forth for a few years, but the first 2 tournaments of the year for about 3 years were in the West Coast, because actually Vegas was in January, and then February was Compete. And I think 97, 98, 99, it was like that. And so we go to Vegas, our first tournament of the year. Hey, this is going to be fun. Let's go. And it's different too, because you go to those 2 events, right? And you think, all right, this is who I'm going to see the whole rest of the year. And it ends up not being that way, because those are just end up being, you see a lot of West Coast people you don't always get to see. If with Chicago, it's in the middle, so people can drive there easily. Not everyone can get to Vegas in January or California in February. So it's a little different. We would always have several regionals that we went to, or double A's that we went to in January. And then we would go to Compete in February. So like for me, when I first started doing NASCA, my first tournament, which I talked about this, where I saw a hit and run and all kinds of stuff in New Jersey. And
that was a fun story.
We went all the way to New Jersey in the snow and got stuck for like a week and a half. And then
I do remember you saying that.
I came home. 2 weeks later, we're down in Miami and Fort Lauderdale for Gold Coast Nationals, like Lauren Carney's saying. Gold Coast was a big AA tournament. And actually, that was one of the first events that was on ESPN. So my second tournament on NASCA, I'm on ESPN too. And I'm like, what the heck? This is crazy.
This is life?
Okay. Like this is before US Open even was really on there then. It was just crazy, man. Just how there were so many different events to lead you, which I liked. It was like, okay, instead of just let's go to a big tournament as your first one of the year, work your way up,
Right.
And so that was one thing that I always liked about the NBL, is that you had some regionals to get to your nationals. And, for us, when I was doing NBL and NASCA, it was crazy because I just finished Super Grands, and I trained my butt off to get ready for Super Grands for a week. I go home for 2 weeks, and then we would go to, the first NASCA tournament or whatever. So, like, at one point, Nashville was a NASCA tournament in January. Maybe it was in February, but it was, Nashville. David Deaton had a NASCA tournament for 2 or 3 years, and it was right there. So, I mean, it's just like get into it, man. I mean, there's so many different ones that's happened. Right now we're looking at, some of the ProMac tournaments. You've got February is really when people are going to start competing. You have the North Georgia Open, and then you have Memphis Open in February. Florida is having tournaments. So
yeah, it kind of feels like Florida, Georgia, like, all right, guys.
Yeah.
I understand you live in Massachusetts. I understand you live in Texas. I understand you live wherever. Right. You're going to have to get yourself to Georgia. You're going to have to get yourself to Florida. It's just where they are.
If you want to compete.
That's not out of the realm of, that's not crazy, because there was a lot. Sometimes there was like 5 tournaments in Florida, big ones.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the difference? The difference is now that's just where you're going.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. We weren't super excited to go to Minnesota in November.
No.
You weren't super excited.
I was excited for the tournament. That was it.
Right. You weren't super. I wasn't even excited to go to the Irish Open. Why did I want to go do that for? I didn't really want to do that. Right. But when I saw the level of competition, and I was told that, like, all right, this is where the largest fighting tournament is. You can't do what you do. and have not been there. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go do this. And
Yeah.
then I was like, all right, I get it. Right. And that's what everybody does when they do go those tournaments. Like, all right, I get it. So it doesn't matter where it is as long
Right.
as it doesn't suck.
And that's what was so cool about like Vegas and Compete being the first two events of the year, because you had a lot of, okay, it was an ASCA event, but you had a lot of NBL competitors there on both. So you got to go against everybody. And then people that like didn't even compete in sport karate that were there. You know, like I remember competing against people from the AAU and the WKF that would go to those events. And you didn't see them in any other tournaments. And so it was cool to have that. I think having
The West Coast demo team guys, I love seeing them there.
Oh yeah, yeah, and just having like an eclectic type tournament to kick off, it's really cool. So AKA's kind of stepped up and done that over the past few years, man, and so
it's been a while that they've been had it like that. It's been over a decade. I had to really think about that. I was like, wow, yeah, it really has been.
Happy holidays.
Well, speaking of competitors, let's get into our competitors of the week.
All right,
our competitors of the week are going to be specific. The ones that we're highlighting are going to be the ones that we think have the potential to have a breakout season. Right. So, like my competitor, I think I've actually used my competitor before.
I think I have too.
But we're nobody said we couldn't use him again. I've used one twice. Right.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure I have.
But my competitor of the week, I feel, has a good chance to have a breakout season. It's Devin Hopper, right? So Devin Hopper he's kind of always steadily been like, you know, just leveling up. And Devin was always really good at beating the guys he should beat, right? Mm-hmm. And this was years back. And I remember then it was like, all right, Devin would look great. He'd be in this division. He fought a lot of different weight classes. I think he fought heavyweight all the way down to middleweight. I think one time I might have even seen him at light middle. Like Devin is good, right?
Yeah.
But it was kind of like Devin would have this great couple of fights, but then like there would be like the guy in the division and he wouldn't beat him.
Right.
However, one, aka Warrior Cup, I don't know, maybe it might have been like 2 years back.
Yeah.
He beats Avery Plowden
Yeah.
in the first round. And I'm like, all right, time to start evaluating this guy a little bit more. Right? And he really does. He's a streaky fighter. He could really go on a streak because you got to think about it. Like, Devin doesn't have a Warrior Cup win, right?
Right.
But Avery does, and he beat Avery. So he has the ability and the potential and the talent to be there. But I haven't seen him cull off a win like that. So it's like, all right, you've shown us you can be that guy. All right.
Right.
Are you going to be that guy? And he's got good people in his corner. He's got a lot of good people talking to him. I believe Devin Hopper, he's really got a chance to have a breakout season this year, 2021 and whatever. And you got to think of his location too. Yeah. He's in an area where you can do a lot of things. I hope he's at him too.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, great guy. Looking forward to. You know, he's been out for a while because he had the injury and everything, and so I think he's going to be back. Exactly. So it's going to be cool. My competitor of the week is kind of an easy one because you took the fighting one. I'm going to go into the forms realm, and you know what? He just came off a huge win with the Virtual Forms Tour, and that's Connor Chastain. And I've been talking about this kid for a long time. I've just thought seeing him train, seeing him compete. He came to my tournament 1 year and just showed out. And the way he designs his forms, it's just a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? His open form, his weapons forms, they have just style, clean karate, creativity, and he just kind of goes. One thing that he does that a lot of people kind of got out of in forms, like when we grew up, the big thing was how much of the ring can you use, right?
Right.
And so he does that more than a lot of other people. He uses the ring in different ways, and he doesn't just stay in the middle or whatever, but he always has good angles on where his form is. He's got some of the craziest and just the most releases that I've seen in a form. You know what I mean? He just combines them on top of each other.
Right.
And with clean karate, with that style, with that finesse. So I love watching him. I think he's going to, be that person to take it up. I know he's going to be active. Like you said, he's going to do as many lab tournaments as he can this year. And so he will be at most of the Pro Mac events and whatever else is going on. And
He
so
he still does intros though. He's got to get rid of the.
Oh
doing
yeah,
that.
yeah. We gotta get rid of the intro, right? Let's see.
Lauren's got a great
Yes,
question.
yes, she does. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think takes an up and comer from on the cusp to makes their move?
To make their move, yeah.
That's great. I think it's different for forms and in fighting. It's completely different, right? For fighting, you really got to not be intimidated at all, right? Sometimes you really almost have to not know, right? Ignorance is bliss sometimes. Because if you go out and you don't really know that, all right, this guy you're about to fight could really, F you up, all right? You have no clue. You just go out there fighting like you would do anything else.
So I don't think
sometimes that helps you.
So I don't think there's any difference between forms of fighting because I think the same mindset goes into that. Because I see more forms people go to a tournament and they're just so excited to be there. Oh, do this move, buddy. We're so excited to see you do this move.
But that's fake.
Yay, yeah. And they're all like excited for that. They're just happy to be there. Which, okay, be humble and be happy to be there. But case in point.
But it is fake though. Don't you think that's fake?
Some of it is. Some of it is. I think so. I mean, some of it is. But some of them, but again, they're still putting themselves down. You know what I mean? They're not lifting themselves up. So if you're going to an event, you're going to, and you feel like you can compete at that level, after a certain extent, your first time or whatever, okay, it may not, be. But once you work your way up, you feel like you are there, you better mentally do it and you carry yourself like you are a champion. So,
all right.
Case in point, here's someone that came out of nowhere and just started beating
what I was gonna
everybody.
ask you.
And just started beating everybody. And he thought he should have beaten everybody. And that was Alex Davidov. Alex Davidov came out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere.
Right.
No one had ever really seen him compete, really, maybe at one or two New York tournaments.
And he had very different, unique moves.
He had stuff that was different, and some of us were like, what is he doing? What is this,
Like the drop kick?
Right, and things, but to him, he didn't be like, oh, no, I shouldn't be, beating these guys, or no, he's like, yeah, I'm winning this.
I should be lucky if I could.
Right.
Crack
He didn't.
The top four.
No. He was in there just like, I'm winning this. And, like he did. And so I think that attitude, that mindset is what does it. You know what? If you come in and you're used to beating everybody in your area, hey, go into it and think of it just the same way. I think, I think it's the mindset of, are you there to win or are you there to watch? So
I think,
I don't know. Yeah.
So you're right. All right. Yeah. We don't need to dissect and get into this too much. I think you're right. Yeah. It's the attitude. All right, y'all, come on with some killer attitude.
And both of them, it's
Devin
about
Connor.
being coachable too, and
and
taking advice, So yes, there's a very balance that has to be where, you got to be like, hey, I'm in this, I'm going to win no matter what. But you also got to have that discipline to listen as well, So, but yeah. Yes, Lauren. Are you there to win or are you there to watch? Yeah. Hey.
Can I be honest with you?
What?
There has been a couple tournaments where I'm just like, shit, I can't win this thing.
Yeah.
I can't win this. There was a couple of them where I just literally thought that. Forms once though, where I'm just like,
right.
I can't win this. There's no way. And hey, do you think I won? No, man. Of course I
Right.
didn't.
So when
You
you
know?
think that way, that's what happens. So I mean,
But
you know,
and then I got fast forward a couple years, and I'm like, F these dudes. I don't care. I'm gonna go do my shits, right?
right?
And then I go out there, and then guess what happens? You win. You know what I mean? So Jeff
Right.
is 100% right. Whenever
Yeah.
it comes to taking advice on forums, just listen to Jeff.
Oh man.
Man, I had a lot of fun. This
Yes.
is a good one. We're
This
going into
was
Happy
fun.
New Year. Hey, you doing any resolutions or anything like that? I don't really do resolutions.
I don't
do
do
goals.
I do goals, and I had some from the end. I start mine always early, so like November, I start working on things, and I do more of like monthly goals, and not really like Now I have some things business wise I want to aim for, and some new things that I want to try this year and do. I'm gonna start. Is there any new things you want to start learning to do? Because I'm gonna start doing rock climbing. So I want to start doing that. Now I'm going to do indoor first. And then start eventually getting to
What
look at
do
outdoor.
you want to do that for?
Because, dude, it's like the best workout. Climbing and using your body.
What?
Yeah. Dude, you can
No.
go to an indoor rock climbing area somewhere and do it.
This is so strange. I was at the gym today.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I'm watching somebody on the rock climbing wall in between sets, and I'm like, I'm not kidding you. I was literally thinking this. I looked, and I'm like, it just seems like the biggest waste of time.
No, dude. Dude. No,
All
no
right,
way.
man.
No way.
I'm gonna
All right. That, and then, like
bring
I said,
yourself to the gym with me, Jeff. I'll get you beefed.
dude, like I said, all the stuff that I want to do is crazy stuff, right? So all the stuff I guess that could get you killed. That, and then what else did I say I want to do? Remember? Ride a bull.
Oh, why? Why?
It's adrenaline rush, man.
Ride a bull? I bet you could ride. No, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna ride a bull in 2021.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
That is
in the
not.
summer.
I'm not riding a bull in 2021. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah. See, Chris. Yeah. Rock climbing is really hard. Really hard.
It doesn't make it. It's all so dumb.
Why is
Why?
it dumb?
Okay? You know why? I'm gonna tell you
my
this.
God.
The goal of rock
Yes.
climbing.
That's
There's
a
two
great
goals.
movie.
It's get to the top of the rock, and don't die.
Right. So what's dumb about not dying? I mean,
Why? When you don't cease to exist, if that's the accomplishment, maybe the activity
Isn't okay.
isn't really that. Shouldn't
But
be that.
but
important
here's
to
the
do.
deal: rock climbing, though, it's a natural activity. It's stuff that people have done for years to get from one place to the next. Okay.
All right, man.
So-
I tell you, I'm not that dude. That's another thing. So this is when I was. Remember when I was telling you, like I was destined to live from here. Like rock climbing. Oh, that's a Minnesotan thing. Go ahead. Go bring yourself to Spirit Mountain. Do something like that. That's a thing
Right.
over there. Oh yeah, they'll love to do that. That's not me. No way.
Oh man.
I'll think of something weird. I'll try to match it with something. I'm not riding a bull. I'm not rock climbing. Both things.
What
look
about
like-
do a backflip on a BMX bike? See, I always wanted to do that too.
I think I was like 14 the last time I rode a bicycle.
Yeah, I want to get back. Into
I
that
don't know
too.
about that, man. I was
do
never
something
good.
good.
Different when you're almost 40 years old.
You might be right. You might be right.
Like no. You don't do things where death is an option at 40.
I got you. Well, I mean, here's the deal. I don't flip anymore. So, like today, I put out some on Instagram. What kick do you want to see? So people would put
They were
different kicks.
like, I want to see
and-
a triple flash.
And someone said like a flash kick. I was like, yeah, I don't flip no more. Sorry, I'm not doing that. Not doing that right now. But I get that. But maybe on a bike, I don't know. Probably not. No, I'm over that. About 10 years ago, I thought I was going to do that, but no. I have like 3 of my best friends are BMX like riders, so yeah, they always try to get me to do it. I should have, but yeah.
I'm cool with that. I'm not. I might golf more. Who knows? That I mean.
Wow, real
I know. I
intense,
gotta think of
Alex.
something. But
Real
I'm
intense.
not doing something where death is an option. I'm not
It doesn't
doing
have to be
that.
death. It doesn't have to be death, but
Everything you mentioned, death was an option.
indoor rock climbing is not death. I mean, Well, I
Yeah,
mean, I
then
have
what are we
seen.
doing?
I saw. What was it? Natalia doing it with like no
No,
rope.
don't listen
She-
to what. No,
Yeah,
listen.
no, doing it with no
Anything
rope.
Natalia does is she's a little nuts. I love you, Natalia. All right, Natalia Clyde Wisniewska. That's who we're talking about.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
So she, when we would train together, she was very good. She's a lot of times she had the best timing of anybody in any session. She was that good. However, her actual workouts, like they don't like humans aren't supposed to do what you do all the time. Like you just like I don't
Right.
get you, right? Like I asked her one time because she's got some massive quads. I was like, what do you squat? How much do you deadlift? She goes, I can't. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, if I were to squat enough for my legs to get a real workout, I would compress my back so much that I would end up having back problems. I'm like,
Wow.
all right. Because she's like, I think she weighed like 130 pounds or 35 pounds or 140 pounds, something like that. But she's like, for me to do anything, I'd have to squat like 350 pounds.
Right.
She goes, if I put 350 pounds on my shoulders, my back would compress.
Yeah.
And she
Wow.
can't compress
That's
anymore.
interesting. Right. Wow.
So
That's-
she's just not like I'm not listening. Like if she's doing it, like all right, I'll listen to you because you're that good fitness wise. But like
yeah.
I'm not gonna do some of the stuff you do. So forget
Yeah.
about it. All right, come with some suggestions, guys.
Brett just said, Jeff, I don't think you've calculated the recovery time of our age.
Yes.
You might be right,
Thank
but I'll
you.
tell you what, I'm in my best shape I've ever been. I'm at the weight I was at 18. Okay,
Listen,
which is crazy.
that is the
and,
same
and
thing.
I eat
No,
way
no.
healthier than I ever had.
Brett, time in on this one. That's the same thing someone says right before they have a tragic injury.
Okay, true.
Tell
that
me
may
I'm wrong. Best shape I've ever been in my life. Feeling great, just like I was when I was 18. What happened to him? Never saw it coming, man. I don't know. He's gonna be in a stretcher for, geez, I don't know, at least a week.
Wow.
Don't do it.
All
Don't
right,
go
all
rock
right.
climbing. All right. This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week, and Happy New Year, guys.
Merry New Year.